Today we are going to discuss negative numbers. Don't be afraid of negative numbers. They're actually very easy if you follow these simple rules. First, let me explain a negative number. A negative number is a number that is less than 0. So, for example, a positive number would represent a deposit into your bank account, and a negative number would represent a withdrawal. When I was in the second grade, negative numbers is actually what got me interested in mathematics. My second grade teacher told me there was a number less than 0, but she wouldn't tell me what that number was. And I argued a little bit, like, are you crazy? There's no number less than 0. Tell me what number is less than 0. And she wouldn't tell me. She just told me I would learn about it later. And so that is what sparked my interest in negative numbers, because I wanted to know what that crazy lady was talking about. How could there possibly be a number less than 0? And of course, later I found out. Let me outline the rules first before we get started. There are 4 rules that you should follow when working with negative numbers, adding and subtracting negative numbers. So rule number 1 is the answer will always have the sign of the biggest number. Rule number 2, if you have one negative number and one positive number, subtract. Rule number 3, if you have 2 negative numbers, add. Rule number 4, if you have 2 negative signs next to each other, they cancel each other out and they become a plus sign. -3 plus 4. First, let me show you how to get the answer on the number line. We're starting with -3, and we're going to add 4. That means jump 4 spaces to the right. 1, 2, 3, 4. So that gives us 1. And that also follows rule number 1, which says that the answer will take the sign of the biggest number. The biggest number is 4. 4 is positive, which means our answer will be positive. This also follows rule number 2, because rule number 2 says if you have a negative number and a positive number, you will subtract. So 4 minus 3 is 1. Let's do -2 plus 5. We're starting with -2, and we're going to add 5, which means go to the right 5 spaces. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So our answer is 3. Now let's do it using the rules. Rule number 1, our answer will take the sign of the biggest number. Our biggest number is 5. 5 is positive, which means our answer is positive. Check. Rule number 2, if we have a negative number and a positive number, then we subtract. 5 minus 2 is 3. Check. -2 plus -4. So let's only use our rules now. Rule number 1 is the answer will take the sign of the biggest number. The biggest number is 4, -4. The 4 is negative. So our answer will be negative. Let's go ahead and write that. Rule number 2, one negative number and a positive number means you subtract. We have 2 negative numbers. Rule number 2 doesn't fit this. Let's move on to rule number 3. Rule number 3 says 2 negative numbers means we add. Well, we have 2 negative numbers here, a -2 and a -4. So that means we add. So 4 plus 2 is 6. Rule number 4 doesn't apply to this example, so our answer is -6. 2 minus -3. Once I explain rule number 4, I will write this in the proper way. So this follows rule number 4 because we have 2 negative signs next to each other. Now, rule number 4 says when you have 2 negative signs next to each other, they cancel out and they become positive. So these 2 negative signs, they cancel each other out and they become a positive. Now we have just a normal addition problem, and 2 plus 3 equals 5. If we do -2 minus negative 3. We still know that two negative signs cancel each other out and become a positive. And now we go ahead and start with rule number 1, which says the answer will take the sign of the biggest number. The biggest number is 3, and 3 is positive, so our answer will be positive. Rule number 2 says if we have a negative number and a positive number, a negative number and a positive number, we subtract, so 3 minus 2 is 1. So the correct way to write this before we changed it, so it said 2 minus negative 3. The proper way is to put parentheses around the negative 3. And that's it. Pretty easy, right? Next, I'm going to discuss multiplying and dividing negative numbers. There are rules for that as well, so go on over to that video and I will explain it there. I'm also going to explain the order of operations. If you have any questions, leave them down below. I will answer. If this video was helpful, give it a thumbs up so that others can see it, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.